Scarpins Avenue.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Sklar Country, the virus edition, the Pandy Pods, the basement takes, although we're upstairs right now because we just watched episodes 4 and 5 of Tiger King. And if you want to hear that, the breakdown, it will be in the Dumb People Town feed because we watched it. We're going to watch episodes 6 and 7 and on Saturday, probably around the 2 o'clock hour. So if you want to watch with us, go to the Dumb People Town Instagram page. You can Instagram live it with us. We'll watch that, and then we'll do a wrap-up next Dumb People Town. So imagine where you were after you just watched episodes 4 and 5 of Tiger King. That's where we're at in an emotional headspace right now as we try and do this episode of this show, which we try and give you like 30 minutes of, can we give 25 minutes of just pure fun.
And can we connect with you in a way that people unfortunately aren't connecting with each other?
Because there's a weight in everything. Every time I see a chart, every time I see the stock market go up and down, every time I hear the death toll, my shoulders go up, I get stressed out, and I say to myself, please somebody just pull a pin out of this a little bit. There'll be plenty of time to come back to it.
I don't know, by the way, Rand, I don't know that we fully gave credit to how powerful for me hearing that one of the originators of Fountains of Wayne died.
I mean, I saw all of Rachel Bloom's posts about it. Rachel Bloom, our friend, crazy ex-girlfriend, so talented. And he wrote a lot of songs for her and did a lot of that stuff. But I haven't even told my oldest daughter yet. And she's like a Stacy's mom. Like, she came to that song as a 14-year-old girl now. That song is on like her the first song on her playlist. So for me to go to her and say, okay, this disease has claimed that person among many others, but it just shows you that it knows no bounds. 52 years old. He's like our
age range. It made it feel so.
Do you remember
real.
the first time who told us about Fountains of Wayne? Jim Weber.
I think Jim.
So our buddy Jim Weber, who runs the North Bar, and friends of ours who are in Chicago who know us and who have seen us perform there. We love that club, and who Jim Weber is to us.
Jim Weber, we went to camp with, Camp Ramah back in the day in Madison, up in Eagle River,
northern Wisconsin,
Conover, Rhinelander.
What are they doing up in Rhinelander?
What are they doing up there?
They're making dolls out of real baby hair.
So we went to camp with him, a Jewish summer camp, and then he moved to Minneapolis. And then when Randy and I think it was in between, we had done our pilot.
So we did our pilot for MTV Apartment 2F in
1997.
October, November of 97. And here's who was on that pilot. Zach Galifianakis was in the pilot with us. Mm-hmm. Upright Citizens Brigade was the first thing television thing they all did together.
Amy Poehler, Matt Walsh, Matt Besser, and Ian Roberts.
Okay. And
JB Smoove.
JB Smoove did stand-up. Did Jason Nash do a thing?
I don't know if
he may have done a thing. And Colleen Worthman.
She did like a Catholic schoolgirl coming over to sell us cookies, but then going
into a huge monologue. It was so much fun. I love doing that show so much. Sam Cedar did a movie in it, wasn't that? Didn't he do a little
Lights movie?
Yeah,
maybe
that was in there too.
We used all kinds of stuff. What I loved about that show was it for us. It was our first shot. It was our crack to do anything. It was our foray into television, and we did the pilot, and then we didn't hear anything, and we thought,
"Oh my God, we're going to have to go back and get jobs again."
Because we quit our regular day jobs, and then we had this 6-week pilot, and then all of a sudden they hadn't made a choice. So we were panicked and starting to look for work, and then we booked this commercial campaign that took us to Minneapolis for the Minneapolis Star Tribune, which is their newspaper.
It was for their online
website.
1996. This is at the very beginning of websites, just telling you what was going on using the website that they had. So we played these two aliens that had come down to Minnesota.
Zwartnik and Earl.
And we were dressed I was dressed like a true Minnesotan. I was wearing like Red Wing shoes
and like
dark jeans and an awesome flannel.
And I was wearing, you lucked out so hardcore.
I lucked out so hardcore.
Because what they put over my shoulder was they rigged a laptop.
And it wasn't like a laptop the way this is light. It was like 20 pounds.
It was like 70 pounds.
Not
it might have been 70. It was more than holding my daughter right now, or my son.
Right.
It was so heavy, and I had to carry it around everywhere and then act like I was typing on the laptop and looking up things to do in Minneapolis. So we did some commercials, 5 or 6 commercials. Which
Best part about that, I'm going to segue even further and take another nosedive even deeper into my favorite person on that entire shoot was the lighting guy,
Dave Palm.
Dave Palm. I mean, so
Minnesota.
Fargo had just shot there, and they had shot a bunch of commercials there. There was a great Fallon McGilligan, which was a fantastic ad agency in Minneapolis. They'd shot a bunch of things. So there were crews ready to crew up in Minneapolis whenever you wanted to shoot something. And these guys worked on Fargo. They worked on other movies and the Jim Jarmusch movies and stuff that were shot there. So this guy had done a lot of work, and he had been in the business for a long time. Old grizzled guy, Dave Palm, and he was yelling at his workers. Best boy, his guy who was doing, he'd call him Paco. He just like,
which, by the way, was not his name.
No,
his name was not
over
Paco.
and over. Paco, I need you to run me a flag over there. Off and on it, Paco. Paco, off and on it. Which means get a show card.
Get a show card and off and on it.
Which means let me see how the light is when you put the show card up, and let me see how it is when you put it down. So that's what he's screaming over and over again. All right.
And we were afraid of him, but at the same time, we kind of loved him.
Because he was such a great character, and we'd be like in the lunch line to go, and people were taking too long, and he was behind you in line, and he would yell at lunch, which is supposed to be the most peaceful time of a shoot.
Come on, scoop and go.
Scoop and go.
Scoop and go.
Let's go. Scoop up. Anyway, so that was a fantastic shoot.
So part of the thing that was cool about that job was that instead of, they had us do public appearances.
So we did this 4 or 5 commercials, and then we shot a 6th one with Jim Signorelli, the guy who
did the fake commercials on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he ran that department.
We shot that in New York. But the rest of them we shot in Minneapolis, and then they had us come back for 30 days of public appearances, but
as these characters.
So we weren't like the main attraction. We wouldn't like stand up and do bits or anything. We just had to show up at major Minnesota events,
and like just hang out.
Winter Carnival in St. Paul, or a St. Paul Saints hockey game,
or boat show.
We showed up at a boat show at like a food expo where we learned about glad corn,
and we blown out field corn, which was our favorite snack ever. And we would just walk around as these characters and talk to people in character. It was so much fun.
It was a blast of thing, but also it got us to spend a lot of time in Minneapolis and get to hang with our buddy Jim Weber,
who we reconnected with,
who was managing bands at the time.
He was managing Detroit, the name of the band Detroit from Minneapolis, and they were amazing. We saw them, got into them, but he knew so many other bands. And I remember he said, "Have you guys ever heard of Fountains of Wayne?"
And we said no.
No, he's like, dude, their album top to bottom, and he played us that album. He said this is just one of the best pop.
I think we were
albums.
like CD store, like we were at a record store buying CDs, and he's like, "Buy this CD." So and he was right on.
That's the first thing I thought of. And, you know, it's just a crazy and a deep and a sad time that we're losing great people like that through this whole thing. So that's not that it didn't get real before, but, you know, that hits you.
It hits you. That guy's gone. And Bieber is
still around.
Lives.
So can I just, keeping in the music world.
Yes, please.
And then
that's a good open up for this.
And then we'll go and then we'll take a break. Rick Astley announced that he's having a concert October 28th.
So I read this and my first thought was Rick Astley is still alive?
Yeah. He's free tickets for NHS frontline workers. Now, is that a punishment or a gift?
I don't know, but I do feel
Haven't they suffered enough, Rick?
All I'm saying is it feels like Rick Astley at this point would only be doing free shows at like country fairs.
How long is a Rick Astley concert? I'm seriously I'm
almost
asking.
as long as his trench coat.
17 minutes.
How wet is the ground underneath him?
17 minutes.
He's got like 4 songs. Never Gonna Give You Up. Can you name another one?
Together forever and never to part.
And what was the thing about
Together forever?
Rick Astley was that.
Why don't I do that for karaoke?
That's a good one.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
Never gonna
run around and desert
So the thing about him is I think people at the same time like thought he was a joke and also gave him credit.
Remember then when every time you wanted to click something interesting on the internet, it would trick you and show you the Never Gonna Give You Up Rick Astley video? Like that was before the photo of the African-American guy with the gigantic penis who was a sex worker who is now dead. Like that's the thing they showed. Like, hey, they found a cure for coronavirus, and you click on
this link, and it's just
that guy with a test tube.
Yeah.
Right. So like that. But
so Rick Astley was
a
joke, and now he's offering. And that's one of those things where you say to yourself, thank you. Like whoever's out in the world, they say thank you for the offer. That's so nice. It's cool that you're playing Manchester Arena. I mean, we're not playing Manchester Arena.
It's amazing.
Look, who are we to talk? We're not playing Manchester Arena.
Exactly.
We are no one to talk. But I do think you got to like gauge that would be a bigger deal if it were Cardi B. If it were,
it's okay.
You know,
I'm glad he's playing it. Free tickets.
Lizzo should do this.
Yep.
Lizzo, there you go. You're on blast. Rick Astley's offering to do this all the way in October. I love that he thinks stuff's going to be back on in October.
Can I tell you something that for the second I heard Rick Astley was making an announcement, I was like, he's the new Flava Flav. Because
I heard.
There was the whole thing recently where Chuck D
kicked Flava Flav out of the group.
And there was a legal battle back and forth. But then Chuck D recently said, oh no, we just did that to sell albums, to create press.
So definitely they did it on purpose for real to get rid of him. And then they had to calm down. And then they had a conversation. And they're like, well, how are we going to spin this? And then he's like, we'll do it for press.
Like he's kicking. But the weird thing is like, why is he kicking Flavor Flav out now? That call him Flavor Flav?
Flavor Flav.
Why is he kicking Flavor Flav out now?
He should have kicked Flavor out when he started dating Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah, and he started ruining the street cred when she would only call him Foofy Foof.
Foofy.
They were cool with that, but now suddenly something's going on during COVID where you got to get him out of there.
Brigitte Nielsen.
So they're saying it's like a hoax. Apparently, and I'm going to read all this.
Like Brigitte Nielsen loved Flava Flav with a love that like very few people receive.
That's right. Red Sonja was up on that. Mm-hmm. Apparently Chuck D was supposed to play at a Bernie Sanders rally without Flav.
Yes.
I love...
well, Flav said he didn't want to be repped. He didn't want to like associate himself with that. So Chuck D's like, fine, I'm going to do it by myself.
I love the Flava Flav. I love the Charles D. He represents the 99% of the 99% who aren't the top 1%.
That's good, man.
Flavor had his lawyer send a cease and desist. His lawyer. So there is someone representing Flava Flav right now.
There's someone whose assistant is saying, David, I have Flavor on one.
Who is Flava Flav's lawyer? Phineas J. Whoopi?
Phineas J. Whoopi, you're the greatest.
So we sent the letter to Chuck D. Chuck D got the letter and said, okay, this is good. This is making it seem like we're in a huge fight.
Look at how far we're going to sell this thing.
Wasn't coordinated. I love Chuck D. Huge fan of PE. Even when they were even slid the fact that they were very anti-Semitic for a brief period of time.
Hey, but everybody is.
Come on, Chuck. You can't rewrite history like that.
Bro, just say we kicked him out and then you know what? We thought about it. We brought him back.
It's like when your girlfriend breaks up with you and you're like, oh, I was in on that. We talked about it.
Or when your girlfriend breaks up with you and then everyone tells you how much they hate her and then you get back together again and then everyone's like, we were just...
All right, so I'm saying, this is what Chuck D's quote was about this. You ready?
Please.
Okay. We already talked about this beforehand. You definitely did not talk about this
No one talked
beforehand.
about anything.
Public Enemy radio went up at a Bernie Sanders rally. His lawyer sent out a cease and desist. I'm like, good move. Wait, you guys didn't talk about it ahead of time?
No, his lawyer just threw it up, and I said, good move.
Then publicly I said, man, don't you fucking sue me again. He ain't suing me. But I can say it if the public is confused about this, that, whatever. They're going to be confused about what's a lawsuit and what's not. Now he sounds like Carol Baskin.
No.
Trying to explain away something that we're like, there is no...
Their name is Public Enemy. They are making the public their enemy.
Yo, man, you suing me again publicly? Boom. Fuck that. You're fired, dude. This is my last thing with you. Okay, we knew that was going to come. I'm not saying it's a hoax. I'm saying that the original intention is to get your attention and not play attention, but you get to pay attention.
None of that makes sense.
Please tell me what that means.
None of that makes sense.
Please tell me what that means.
If you told me that Joe Exotic had said those words, I'd be like,
okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
That's the sounds of a man who's trying to change straight men into gay men.
Expect to see Flavor out on tour with Charles D later on.
Thank God. Too bad there's no touring. Maybe they can open up for Rick Astley in London.
Manchester. That would be a great show. To merge those two audiences, unbelievable.
Public Enemy and Rick Astley live in Manchester, and then Public Enemy, and then Rick Astley's lawyer sends a cease and desist to Flava Flav.
Say, don't do any of that. You can't hype Charles D.
Don't believe the hype. 911 is a joke.
It
though.
is unbelievable.
Unfortunately, right now, for a lot of people, 911
Is a joke. All right, let's take a break.
Yep.
People ask us what other podcasts should we listen to. We've given you a bunch by way of voicemails and little appearances by people. Daniel Van Kirk's got a great show called The Good Night Show. You should be listening to that every day.
Every night.
Every night. Subscribe, rate, review it. Of course, the Growlic Saves the World. We love those guys. Jen Kirkman's got a great podcast. We'll get a voicemail from her coming up. There's just great stuff all over the place. But Mega, fantastic new podcast about a mega church.
The only ones who are meeting in large numbers these days.
Yeah, so you're going to want to hear it. They left us a fantastic voicemail about how they're doing and how they're handling things in their podcast. So listen to that right now. These are the guys from Mega, and we'll be back right after this break.
Hey guys, it's Hallie and Gray from Mega the Podcast.
Hey guys.
What's happening, brothers? So, it's really distracting right now. Nobody knows what day of the week it is, but I just want to remind everybody that this Sunday is Palm Sunday, and instead of thinking about the palms as being the palms that they laid down for Jesus to walk upon as he came into Jerusalem on a donkey, I want us to think about washing our palms this Sunday. You know what I mean? So let's just put those palms together under some water, pump some soap in there, and give it a good 20 seconds. I know some people do the alphabet or just go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, all the way up to 20, but I say throw in a praise song for 20 seconds like this. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Now, that might not be 20 seconds right there. So on the last one, you can just be like, our God is an awesome God.
Yeah, I think they get it, Hallie.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Okay, and if you want to make it extra biblical, you guys could also do a foot wash. And, Jesus, he had his feet washed with perfume by a sex worker who then dried it with a hair. So, if you've got someone there at your house with some extra red door and some luscious locks, you can just give it a try. It's not going to do much against the virus, but, might spice things up.
Yeah, you got to keep your spirits up in a pandemic, you know what I mean? And so, anyway, this week we got a great episode on Mega the Podcast. This Sunday we have Jess McKenna from Off Book Podcast.
She is so awesome.
She's so awesome.
So check it out, guys, and have a great rest of your week.
Hey guys, welcome back. Again, check out Mega, rate, review, subscribe to that. Subscribe to this. Tell a few friends if you're enjoying the fact that we're giving you a little bit of a time off when you get to walk the dog, you stretch your legs, get outside, move around, exercise, or you just want to put the earphones on while you're having dinner so you don't have to talk to your family because you see them all day.
Hey, we get it.
Hey, you can do it.
That's too much time with your kids.
While you do the dishes. That's
I
another
do
one.
think
Cooking.
I am way past.
meth.
I am way past the amount of time that I should be spending with my children.
Okay, so my 12-year-old has so much homework, I can't believe it. Either she's not maximizing her time or she gets up at like 11 and she's like working until 11 o'clock at night. It's like she's
like the accountant for like the mob.
She's
like, I gotta cook these books, and it doesn't happen quickly.
These books aren't going to cook themselves.
I cook these damn books until midnight.
So it got
She's like the one straight Jewish lawyer who's like tapped into the Italian mob.
So she finished her stuff to a certain point, and I was like, good, you're done. And
She's Sean Penn in Scarface.
She wanted to just read. Sean Penn was in Scarface?
I mean, not Scarface. What am I thinking of?
Dead Man Walking?
No, Sean Penn when he put on the weight and was the bald-headed guy. And
oh, I have no idea.
Maybe he is Scarface. I don't
no,
know.
it was not Scarface. Sean Penn, it was not in
Scarface. In what's
Carlito's Way?
Thank you.
No, he was not in Carlito's Way. Was Sean Penn in Carlito's Way, Dan?
Goddamn right he was, and he looked great.
Look him up. Dan's going to look it up.
Dan,
because we're at Dan's place. Anyway, but the idea...
People are screaming right now at their phones.
Screaming right now.
They're like, you dummies.
We don't know.
We're bad at Doug Loves Movies. This is why. We have other things we're dealing with. We're dealing with getting our kids done with their goddamn homework.
So she had to record herself reading a statement for an English thing. And she had wrote a thing. We wrote it, and then she was going to read it.
By the way, does it feel like to you, Rand, and I'm going to ask this to you, and I'm sure there are people who are homeschooling right now, their own kids. Their homework feels like my homework.
Yeah. Oh, no. I got so much homework tonight.
It's
you guys
my
have no idea.
goddamn homework.
Carlito's Way. Boom. 93. Thanks, Dan. Yeah. Yep. Leguizamo. There you go, Sean Penn. Jay was right.
Penn in one of his best roles ever. Put
Jay,
on
you were
weight,
right.
bald
Okay.
head.
All right. So the point is that she was recording this thing, my homework. She's recording, and then she had to record her reading the statement that she wrote.
And now you're like coaching her like it's like your audition.
I couldn't be in the room.
A
I
test.
couldn't be in the room.
She wouldn't let you be in the room.
She did it, and I was in the other room watching an old World Cup game from 2018 because I just could not think. I'd done so much homework in the day. She reads it, can't get it right, finally gets it right, and I'm like, whew, thank God she's done. She erases it because she didn't like it.
God damn it.
Does it again, can't get it right, gets all the way through the end, makes a mistake on the last sentence, can't get it right. I'm like, from the other room, why'd you erase it?
Why'd you erase it?
What are you doing to us, is what I said to her. What are you doing to us?
Look what you're putting me through.
Why did you erase it? So she comes back and then gets it right again. And I'm like, thank God, we are done. She's like, I don't like it. I'm like, you don't like it. You don't get to decide if you like it.
Doesn't matter if you like it anymore.
So
you're
that
done.
was a humongous fight while we were having dinner at 9:30 because we had to wait for her to finally get it right. And I am going to tell you, we had a baked potato bar at my house last night.
What are you, at Wendy's?
I cut my baked potato so angrily.
Hard.
I cut it with an anger and a vitriol.
What was loaded on that skin?
My anger was loaded on that skin, along with some bacon bits. All right.
I'm going to say this about my son last night. So my wife and I have been trying to decide when is a good time for him to go to sleep because we're dealing with like not school, yes, school, not school.
Yeah.
So he comes to me at 9:30 and was like, I want to watch a movie.
Yeah.
9:30.
That's you're on the
late.
borderline.
And I said, okay, let's watch the first hour of Blues Brothers.
And
So good.
okay
Holds
for an
up.
11-year-old kid to watch.
Totally okay for an 11-year-old boy. Someone drops an N-bomb and we talked about it.
Good. You can't do it. It's a teachable moment.
Cab Calloway. I was
Teachable
like, it's
moment.
okay for him to say it, not okay for us. But then we got into it and I watched it and I was like, look, John Landis's handprints are all over this
Okay,
thing.
good.
Like, first of all, there's like a really artistic beginning to the movie.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, him getting out of jail, Frank Oz going through the
great.
stuff.
It's great.
What I remembered to be the movie was that there wasn't a lot of interaction. I was like, maybe there's like 12 lines of dialogue in the whole movie.
There's a lot.
There's a lot between the two of them. And what I love was that I bought their performances. They
were
bought
amazing.
their performances. They were amazing in it. The scene where James Brown, there's 3 musical scenes where they have enormous music stars playing.
Aretha Franklin,
James Brown in the church, Aretha Franklin, and Ray Charles.
Incredible.
And I'm so as
All
each,
3 of them were like great music videos.
as each of them came forward, and the choreography of the dancing in the
Incredible.
streets is like later they did that in frickin'
Ferris Bueller's Day
Off, but it was so good, and the amount of like
The shot of people doing backflips over James Brown in the church.
when my son laughed at it, I was like, you know what, you're on the right,
That's
the
right.
right path.
You're right.
We stayed up till 11:15.
Oh, God.
We watched more than an hour of it, and there's still a lot left. Carrie Fisher, amazing in it.
so good.
Every time something blows up and they just climb out of the rubble, the sound of the bricks being moved aside
So
as they
funny.
stand up quietly and they just move on their way is hilarious, and it all stands up. I was so happy to see that film stood up.
Of course it does.
Recommendation for you right now.
right.
Blues Brothers, get into it.
Last thing that happened, and I can't believe this isn't happening more often, and this, of course, I'm going to say, inspired by all the dumb people who have their own zoos.
Yes.
We love bringing Florida man stories. That's what we do.
God bless it. We
This
do
is
it on
a
our
product from the Sunshine State. This is ridiculous. Alligator trapper Broderick Vaughn
Is this the guy from Nate Bargatze's story?
was called to the scene of an accident between an alligator and a semi-truck around midnight, June 3rd. June 3rd? What is that? It's old. What are we talking about, June 3rd?
Old story. Okay. Fine.
All right, fine, old story. This is for you, June 3rd. I didn't read it. Vaughn had been trapping gators in Florida. As 1.3 million gators are in Florida. I didn't know there were that many in Florida.
Are they like deer down there?
Yeah, probably.
You just want to get rid of them?
This was a...
By the way, if you saw a gator anywhere
I've
near
seen
you
one.
on a
I've seen
golf
one.
course,
I've seen one.
and what'd you do?
I hit the ball near him, and I was like, that ball is gone. I didn't try and hit the ball near him. I tried so hard to hit it elsewhere, and I hit it right by him.
Truth is,
It was a great shot, too. They're fast, and you just got to get away.
Give yourself
They look like they're dying dinosaurs, and then they will come and get you.
and latch on, and then you're gone.
Then you're gone.
Then
You're
your legs
done.
are gone. Is it worth it?
483-pound tiger. Or excuse me, not tiger.
Alligator. So this is the Escalade. By the way, I've been watching a lot of
Have you watched the Street Ball?
And one.
May he rest in peace.
How tall do you think Escalade was?
6'3".
6'10".
Escalade was 6'10"?
Escalade was 6'10", and he was 500 pounds.
No way.
That's why he died.
No way.
Escalade was 6'10".
That's unbelievable.
Bro.
Escalade was 6'10". All
Sorry.
right, 400 and I want to say 60.
So this is a giant alligator, and it came in contact with a semi-truck.
a semi-truck hit it, and I think the truck
Fell over.
Right, had
and
an
the
accident.
alligator was still okay.
Alligator was fine. Alligator, and there are pictures of people being okay. Alligator, and the picture in the paper is of a woman smiling, and her hand is on the alligator, and the alligator's mouth is all wrapped up. Why? Do not take. So you just want that picture. That's all you want, is you want that picture.
How empty is your life that the picture of you with the hand on the alligator is so important to you? I hope he opens up his mouth and you're gone.
No, so he said the animal was badly injured and he had to put it down. There was no reason to keep him alive and let him suffer.
No.
He's living in Florida. He's suffering enough.
It's going to make like 45 pairs of boots.
Do you feel like now, because there's less traffic, and I don't even know if Florida people are following the rules.
I'm sure they're not.
I'm sure they're like all out, like business as usual. Tennessee is like business as usual.
Fake news.
Fake news, business as usual.
That's fake news.
The idea that if they're not on the road, that the alligators are now roaming everywhere, on the highways, across regular streets. I think that's happening now. I think if you went to Florida, if they did actually shelter in place,
Alligators everywhere.
you just see alligators as far as the eye can see, because they're like, we don't care. We can cross that road now. We can just hang out in the road. Like, you're going to have a huge alligator problem if you decide to go back.
As if you needed another reason not to go to Florida.
That's right.
Florida is a place that should be read about, laughed at, and forgotten.
That's right.
It is not a place where you should go live. It is not a place where you should vote. It is not a place where you should do anything.
There you go.
Just get away. It is meant to be observed from afar as a sociological experiment.
That's right. That's right.
Period.
There you go. All right. That's the show, you guys. Keep that in mind. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for subscribing, rating, and reviewing this show. We love having you guys on just as a part of this thing. We love doing this for you on a regular basis. As difficult as it is sometimes, we're putting a lot of content out in this universe.
We'll be back on Monday with another one, with another new one, and we'll keep rolling with it as long as you guys keep rolling with us. Punch a water faucet.
And then go wash your hands, because we need to be clean. That's how we do it. We'll see you guys next week. Or tomorrow. Or next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Anyway, they treat you like an ace that can't be betrayed. I know you stumble with no use, people. If your life is on the line, then you're dead today.